Good morning, America. Good morning, good morning, good morning to everybody. I hope by the time y'all click on this message, everybody is in the best of health, mentally, spiritually, physically, financially. You know what I'm saying? Whatever going on, I hope you're trying to make the best out of it. I'm Nick Paul, by the way. And I guess this would be the introduction of Running Through Bombs, segment 1. You notice the introduction. Like I said, I'm Nick Paul, based out of Florida. I've been debating on starting a podcast or a TV web series for some time now. I was told by a good friend of mine, that my perspective most likely need to be heard and shared, because even though a lot of people seem to not pay attention, I got a message that need to be heard. And for some time I've been trying to get the message out, per se music, per se in the community, word of mouth, not so much looking at it like a cult following or nothing like that. I must say it wasn't working doing the music. A lot of messages get tangled and twisted. For some reason when they hear the music, all they hear is what they deem negative. Only thing they hear is the things that they feel could throw us off a cliff versus take us up a ladder. I would like to also give a shout out to all the podcasters, web series, anybody out there giving out informative information, knowledge, wisdom. You're trying to uplift your community without tearing them down, because we too old for the build up. We too old for the tear down, build up process, We done been through a lot, man. The average African American male around the globe is traumatized without even knowing it. And the other half don't even care. And then the little piece that recognize it, they try to stay out the way. So like I said, I would like to salute everybody that's been doing it before me, because I follow a lot of y'all. Gonna continue to follow you. I support. And throughout these years, the people I be following, I be trying to chop it up with them sometimes throughout the comment section or give my perspective, etc., etc. And a lot of times, what I've noticed throughout these years, when I make comments or something, it's like my comments or statements, they turn into the topic the next day or the next week, which I have no problem with at all. You get what I'm saying? Especially if you can take it farther than I can take it. However, I be looking at it like, and this is a part of the reason why it's important for me to start my own. We need to build off these perspectives. They say they helping these type of people. We on a big fight for injustice, equality. Everybody fighting for that right now. And there's a lot of us that got railroaded in the 90s. There's some kind of way we made it through them trenches. We still here. We might not be where we want to be, but for some reason we still here. So with that being said, a person can teach you something. So not to get off track, what I was saying, a lot of the comments and statements I make in the sections, whenever I be watching the videos, I know they get read, and I'm not saying I want the attention or etc., etc. I want to build. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of y'all be hitting on point. Y'all be on point, but it be a lot of things left out. It be a lot of inconsidered thoughts when messages be being delivered. A lot of these young fellas, man, they understand things differently. You get what I'm saying? You can say the same thing. 10 different ways. You can say the same thing in 10 different ways. So if you're dealing with a group of people who understanding isn't as deep as yours, we got to start teaching ourselves not to be getting aggravated with the younger ones so fast when we're trying to teach them something, So like I said, this is a part of me, the reason why I felt it was important to go ahead and start it, no matter how it turns out. You know what I'm saying? Because if you can reach one, if you can reach two, that right there multiplies. You get what I'm saying? If one person can get the message, understand 2 people gonna definitely get the message. You get what I'm saying? Everybody, we know where we at right now in this world with the crisis and such. The police brutality been going on. You get what I'm saying? Like, been going on forever. Been going on. I'm glad it's getting some light on it. I'm glad people starting to pay attention to it. I wholeheartedly agree with the brothers when they say we need to start loving each other more. But the $1 million question is, how do we get to that point, though? You know what I'm saying? How do we get to that point? How do we get to that point? It can definitely be done. It can definitely be done. And it won't be easy. But it's gonna take a lot of forgiveness. It's gonna take a lot of forgiveness. It's gonna take a lot of overlooking. It's gonna take a lot of selflessness. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna take a whole lot of selflessness. You know, we done been manipulated so many ways. I'm talking about been manipulated so many ways. I done asked myself a few times, damn, Nick, you racist? You know, I had to go and sit down and talk to myself and ask myself, am I racist? Over and over again, and I come back to the conclusion, no, I'm not racist. I just want to be treated equal. But I understood very young that, hey man, listen, I can't become the people that I despise. I can't become the type of person that I despise. You feel what I'm saying? So what I'm basically saying, if a person treating me unequal, whether it be friend, family, the system, the government, trying to get even, which I've tried, trying to get even in the way that they move is only gonna hurt myself. And understand this topic right now is not, there's no topic. This is the introduction. You get what I'm saying? I just want to give y'all a feel of who I am. I want to get a little comfortable with the being on camera, putting my videos out there. You know, that was another problem I was having with the music. I've been doing music over 20 years. Never really cared to shoot a video. Also not paying attention that, hey, we living in a time where people want to see things. Even though I know that we living in a convenient time, everybody want things like that. Everybody want things fast, you know, versus it's like a microwave compared to an oven, you know. And what I was noticing throughout the years, throughout my music, I was trying to go forward, but I was pushing myself back without even recognizing it. You know, because the way that we judge each other, and note, when I say the word judge, over half of the world, and I ain't gonna say half of the world, I'm gonna speak on my people. Over half of the African community, man, black community, whatever word you like to choose, we feel as though we're not judgmental. You get what I'm saying? Denial is definitely in us. You get what I'm saying? Overall, majority of the people claim that they're not judgmental, you know. But when I think about music, I started out writing poetry in school. You get what I'm saying? I like the history. I like the spelling. All that type of shit. You get what I'm saying? I'm a good writer. So I was always the type to write poems, write letters, etc., research. I like that essays. I liked that type of stuff. So as I went to getting older, you get what I'm saying? I went to conforming my poems into rhymes. You know, we was rocking with the records, etc., etc. I didn't know how to record a song, but I knew I had this talent. Never thought about monetizing it, right? And not to mention, we was raised up with the village mentality, right? So as I'm growing up, and I'm seeing things going to get discombobulated, I'm looking at myself like, hey, I'm only one person. I can't, how can I say it? I'm one person, I'm young, the seniors got the seniority, meaning they was here before us, they words damn near law over our words, whether they wrong or right. It didn't matter. You get what I'm saying? Depending on where you came up at, man, the one of the strongest things they attempted to take from us, and I'm talking about our own people, was our voice. You get what I'm saying? We weren't being heard. So therefore, if we're not being heard, that means you either know everything, your perspective is the strongest, or you just a control freak. You get what I'm saying? And that's where I would say that we went to losing a little bit by not listening to each other, not listening to our kids, etc., etc. And now fast forward, here we are today. So as I'm writing, I'm trying to figure out, damn, how do I get to more people? How do I get to more people? Because, you know, as a kid, you walk around, you might let somebody read it, let a couple people read it. They be like, hey, this is good. But you never think about, hey, I can get this pressed up. I can get this poem pressed up 1,000 times and pass it around. You know, I'm a kid. I never thought about that. You know, no one ever came to me with the idea of that, not saying that it was their job. Okay. So I went to catching charges early, 11 years old, no, 6th grade. And from the very first charge that I caught, I was put on probation. And I don't know if y'all know anything about Florida, but they say if you come to Florida on vacation, you'll end up on probation and come back on violation. So I was placed on probation at 11 years old. I didn't get out the system till I was 20. I wasn't a free man, like off of probation, some type of house arrest, till after I was 20, including 2 programs, 2 prison bids. So when I went to catching them first charges, I learned early. I learned I couldn't go to the military. School was hard, you know. I was having trouble in school with fighting. I can't really blame nobody else, you know. But I get into those stories a little later, because every time, a lot of people, it's a thin line between complaining and explaining. And when we deal with each other, for some reason, when we listen, everything hit our heart versus hitting our mind, and we look at each other like, damn, he complaining. No, I'm not complaining. I never asked you for help. I'm just explaining to you what happened, what led up to this point. I'm explaining to you why things are so hard. I'm explaining to you why things are gonna continue to be hard. That don't mean that we can't make it. But knowing is half of the battle. If you can understand and know why this shit hard, that'll keep you from panicking. That'll keep you from tripping. That'll keep you from getting so mad. That'll keep you from overreacting, right? Okay, so now I'm finding out, can't go to the military. It's a good chance that you're not gonna get no scholarship. You get what I'm saying? Because they building up this track record for you, for me, on paper. And when I say for me, for you, you know, it's happened to numerous people. Our people don't know how to contest it, don't know how to defend it. Also, we're children, so when another adult come by, or a teacher, principal, it can be an adult from the community. It can be your uncle. You know, it can be your auntie. But in my days growing up, if an adult came to another adult and they said a child did something, that's exactly what it was. In the South, we was raised like kids really didn't have a voice. You listen. I'm not saying that was right. I'm just telling you that's how it was. I ain't saying it was wrong. I'm just telling you that's how it was. You get what I'm saying? They looking at each other like, why we gonna lie on you? And then another thing, if a child attempted to tell their side of the story, the first thing an adult would do is look at you and say, oh, so I'm lying? So I'm lying, looking you dead in the eye. That's a form of intimidation. You get what I'm saying? That is a form of intimidation, and everybody knows that kids are some of the most truthful species on this earth. Pure. Have no right to lie. Have no reason. You get what I'm saying? Not saying that they don't. So, as I'm realizing, hey, man, you probably ain't gonna be able to go to the, and understand, military wasn't my first thought. Once I seen school sidetracking, I'm like, well, damn, maybe I can go to the military. But I wanted to realize, damn, you got felonies. You can't do that. That's what made me want to even rap from the get-go. You get what I'm saying? I thought the rap game was for people who dropped out of school, not so much entrepreneur. You get what I'm saying? I thought it was for people who done became criminalized. You get what I'm saying? Got so many charges to the point that when you walking up in these places and you filling out applications and you getting prejudged and you getting what's the word? It's not you're seeing prejudice, but you can't prove it. So you go to try to find the other routes. And you know that was a skill I had. I like to talk, I can write, and I can rap. Never really liked cameras. Coming from a place I come from, man, only time we really seen the cameras when we taking family portraits. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we were scared of cameras for a long time. You know what I'm saying? For various reasons. You get what I'm saying? So now, when I went to saying, hey, maybe you can become successful and take care of your people doing music. I went to taking that route, not knowing the business. So I went to hooking up with other family members that was already in the business, that knew the business, and I went to making my moves. But what I noticed, and you know, I started a while back. I started when it wasn't cool to be a rapper. It wasn't cool to be on the mic talking about your past life. It wasn't cool to be expressing yourself. It wasn't cool to have an imagination. It wasn't cool to dream. I wasn't never trying to be cool neither though. You get what I'm saying? I was just going for what I knew. Also, messaging everything. But your reputation is going to precede you. And your reputation is going to be built off of people's opinions of you, whether they know you or whether they don't know you. You get what I'm saying? So just say late 90s, early 2000s, game isn't saturated. Meaning, there's very few people that's independently trying to rap and making a name for themselves. So therefore, it was easier to get the attention and get the eyes on you. You know what I'm saying? And get the people to listen to you. But half of us didn't know the complete business side of it back then. And by the time we learned the business side of it, or the game became wide open, which is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, it's like every 4-5 years the game was changing. Every 4-5 years the game was changing. Nobody could explain, nobody could tell the reason why, but every 4 or 5 years the game was changing. Now by the time most of us learned the basis of the game, it's oversaturated. No one's ever talking about it. I mean, my bad, they talk about it, but they don't use the word oversaturated. They'll say things like, there's 100 rappers born every day. You get what I'm saying though? There's a new rapper every day. There's a new, they let you know in so many different words. But ain't nobody, but if they gave it to you in the perspective that, hey, it's oversaturated, that'll give you a different outlook on it. You'll stop getting so aggravated. You get what I'm saying though? You'll understand why unity is a must. You'll understand why features is a must. You'll understand why networking a certain way is a must. You get what I'm saying? Just because the game changed doesn't mean that a lot of the same rules don't apply. You know what I'm saying? It's just